In our black bears, the vegetation part of their diet is about 83%. So how do they get the proper nutrition that they need? They graze 24/7. So they're always out there feeding, and they're pretty much nocturnal animals. And that's not to say that we may not see them out during the daytime, during noon on a hot summer day, because they change their habits as they need to. It's not to say also that one might see a bear chase a deer, chase a raccoon, chase a fox, a coyote, but they're not going to expend a lot of energy trying to take down an animal like that when there's ample vegetation. We also know that nature has cycles, and so some years we have a lot of what we call mast, and there's hard and soft mast, and by definition, soft mast is blackberries, huckleberries, the squishy things, persimmons. Hard mast, acorns, hickory nuts, walnuts. Those are the types of food that bears feed on most. And it's not again to say that we won't see them grazing on simple grasses and vegetation. Nature is cyclic, and some years there is good mast, some years there is not. And so in the past we've had very good bear production when the mast crop is very good, bears go into hibernation, and actually it's not true hibernation, but they go in this deep sleep and produce cubs the next spring. If the cubs come out and it's a late spring, there's not ample vegetation, they may starve to death, and so it's very difficult to raise a family. In the years that we've had recently, we've had drought, and it's been hard to make a living, it's been hard to raise cubs. And so bears must put on a 4-inch fat layer when they go into the den site, and expectant mothers must come out and be able to nourish their young. So when we have a lot of bears and a failure in the mast crop, then they end up having to go greater distances to find food, which puts them in contact with automobiles, barbed wire fences, poachers, and other threats. And oftentimes this leads to mothers abandoning cubs because mothers are actually killed in this process. And so ABR is called oftentimes to take in these orphaned and sometimes injured cubs. And so the mast crop is very important, and when there's a failure, we tend to see more bears in distress, and oftentimes there's a greater mortality. And so they're oftentimes coming to ABR for care brought by wildlife officers and park rangers that otherwise they would be euthanized. But there is that hope in ABR being able to take them in, get them back into nourishment, and get them back into the wild.